How you doing, guys? Today we're going to head over to Cardiff to check out the retro vintage game shop Super Tomato. Apparently he's got some extremely rare bits in there, so I'm really looking forward to checking those out. My mate here's got the map. Hopefully he knows how to use it. So come on, let's not waste any more time. Let's go. Here I am at Super Tomato in Cardiff. Guys, this chap's got some of the rarest stuff I've ever seen, and in some cases, things that I'll never ever see again. He's got one of the rarest GameCube consoles in the whole world, with only 150 made, but we'll get to that in a little while. Just look at the stock that this guy's got out on display. Honestly, it's absolutely superb. All these big box PC games. There was one in particular on here that I've been looking for a very long time, and spoiler alert, I did actually take it away, but honestly I'm just in absolute awe. Now, he was telling me they've just recently suffered a little bit of water damage in the shop. Unfortunately the ceiling was leaking, so he has actually lost quite a bit of stock, and he was telling me he's by no means got all of it out on display yet, so I kind of feel really sorry for him because yeah, he did seem really quite down about it. Check out this Spider-Man for the Spectrum 48. It's a text adventure Spider-Man game. How cool is that? Anyway, yeah, he was telling me he's going back over to Japan real soon to restock, because a lot of what he's got really is rare, and you just don't see it around in standard retro gaming shops like the ones I go in. I mean, nothing to take it away from them, and 9 times out of 10 they don't quite go this retro or even vintage, but yeah, he's just got so much stuff stacked up. Check out this Monty Python and Holy Grail big box PC game. I have no idea how that plays, guys. I imagine it's a right laugh. I do love the Monty Python films, they're really, really cool. And yeah, look here, we have Simon the Sorcerer 1 and 2. What an absolutely iconic point and click adventure game. Guys, if you're not into your point and click, that would probably be a very good place to start, either that or Monkey Island. I could argue Discworld as well, but yeah, we'll leave that one. Let me know in the comments below, if you're into your point and clicks, where people should start if they want to get into it. I'm gonna go with Simon the Sorcerer. And then we have a Dreamcast here with a Dreamcast karaoke add-on. The camera will get back to that in a moment. That's an interesting one because here we go. It's basically useless, guys, but what a cool collector's piece. A Dreamcast with a karaoke add-on. How cool is that? So as you can see, we've just stacked up with some really cool retro gaming consoles, 16-bit and all sorts. I'm just absolutely in awe. We have Final Fantasy Coca-Cola bottle cap collectibles there, and a Neo Geo MVS. Now, guys, let me know in the comments below if you know what that is, because that's not something I'm particularly sure I'm familiar with. But it did look like it had about 5 cartridge ports of some sort. Here we go, looking at the Sega Saturn stuff. Now, I've recently just picked up a Sega Saturn console, so I'm kind of on a bit of a binge at the moment, but I mean, spoiler alert, I didn't get it from this shop, but I have just got one. And I was interested in that Commodore Night Moves, but I wasn't prepared to pay double the price just for cardboard. Final Fantasy 3 was something the guy was extremely proud of too. Something that you just don't really see that much of these days. I mean, it wasn't boxed, but you'd be paying a lot of money for a boxed copy of Final Fantasy 3, or as most of us know it now as Final Fantasy 6. I am loving the pixel remasters at the moment, so that game is definitely at the forefront of my mind. Lovely boxed Super Nintendo console there, and a lot of nice collectibles. I mean, I love all the old Star Wars stuff. It really, really is just so cool. Now, this is an interesting one. This is a Yamaha CX-5M for the MSX system. So it's a music computer. Really, really cool. And he was also very proud of this Nintendo DS console here as well. He says you don't see many of them around in that variant. Now, guys, I'm going to just slow the video down slightly here, because what we have here is some very, very interesting stuff. We have the pocket sonar, first of all, for the Game Boy. Now, what this does is it actually, you take your Game Boy out fishing with you, and you cast the sonar into the water. What that does is send a signal out into the water, and when it comes into contact with fish, or let's face it, most likely plants or old leather boots or something, it actually sends a signal back to the Game Boy, and it shows on the Game Boy screen where the fish are. So that's a really, really rare Game Boy peripheral, and I've never seen one of those before. Now, obviously you can tell by the video that I was so excited by what I consider to be the rarest GameCube in the world, and that is this one right here. There was only 150 made, and it was actually won as part of the Japanese magazine Shonen Jump. I believe it was some sort of competition that they run on there, or maybe a raffle of some sort, but yeah, it comes as part of the Shonen Jump magazine, and that is the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles GameCube. It also comes with the white attachment. Obviously it's a white console, so it perfectly fits, and that is so you can play, that's the Game Boy player. So yeah, I absolutely think this is one of the most fantastic things I've ever seen in a retro game shop. Now, I was asking him about the price, and he was definitely open to suggestion, but he was kind of dancing around the £8,000 mark, guys. So unfortunately that's just well out of my price range, but I'm so happy to have actually seen this out in the wild. It really is superb, and with it being so rare, honestly, thank you, Super Tomato. I'm absolutely honoured to have seen this. Anyway, let me show you guys something back in the games room that I was able to afford. Super Tomato's the best retro / vintage gaming shop I've ever been in terms of unusual collectibles that you're just never going to see again, or are highly unlikely to ever see again. He had so much stuff in there. I was more than happy to talk about it. In some ways, it was as much a museum as it was a retro vintage game shop. It was so cool. And he absolutely loves his Japanese imports as well. I mean, I said early on in the video that he was only going over to Japan the following week after I'd been in there to go and try and source some really cool stuff. And he had some really interesting stories about that too. He went to go and do a bit of a garage buy of someone's collection over in Japan and ended up in some warehouse somewhere that was really dicey. But yeah, he ended up getting a really good sale and coming out with thousands of pounds worth of retro gaming stuff. So yeah, he's a really interesting guy, and honestly, get yourself over to Super Tomato. It's an absolute superb retro vintage game shop. And this is what I picked up from him. Something that I have been after now for a very, very long time. And yeah, I know I could have gone on eBay and bought it, but I really do like to pick these sort of things up when I'm out and about game hunting. And that's Simon the Sorcerer 1 and 2, as you can see. The big box collector's edition. It's slightly bleached on the sides, unfortunately, but for £20 I was absolutely over the moon. These are two of my favourite point and click adventure games of all time. I've already said that this is a damn good place to start if you're interested in your point and click adventures, or even getting into it, should I say. Absolutely fantastic, absolutely hilarious, to be honest with you. Great British comedy. And it was Simon in the first game, at least, was actually voiced by the guy that plays Rimmer out of Red Dwarf. So yeah, you can tell when you're listening to it, he's definitely quite young in it. But yeah, really, really, really cool. So it is a collector's edition, and it was meant to come with a t-shirt, but unfortunately the t-shirt is long gone. Let's crack it open so I can show you what's in there. It's quite basic, to be fair. We've just got the discs for the games, some manuals, and someone's printed off a bit of a guide. I'm not going to show you that, but yeah, someone's printed off a bit of a guide. And then these are quite, these amused me when I open them up. Stuck on Simon the Sorcerer. Suffering from an overdose of swamp stew. Can't tell a golem from a gargoyle. Don't worry, help is available in the form of Simon the Sorcerer hint book. Priced at only £5, including postage and packaging, in the life-saving, sanity-saving offer of the year. You know what? You reckon sending that off would do anything? I highly doubt it. But yeah, absolutely over the moon with that pickup. Simon the Sorcerer, guys, check it out. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Click here to check out my games room tour that I finally put out. So yeah, guys, check that out and I will see you again real soon. Take care of yourselves.